Okay guys, just wanted to talk a little bit about the valve covers and maybe a little bit about metal polishing, period. Take a little bit of reflection off of that. So again, this is winter projects, and what kind of things can I take off the car pretty handily while it's in storage, where I can't really treat it like I would like it's in my garage, drain fluids everywhere, do all that kind of stuff. Can't rip the heads off, which I'd like to do, and check out the gaskets and valves and stuff in there. But so let's talk a little bit about metal polishing. I'll knock one out really quick and easy here. This is the door trim for our 57 Thunderbird, one piece of it. And if you can just see all that tarnish and everything, get that off my nice shiny valve covers. And this is kind of what the valve covers looked like too. A little bit worse, actually. But I took all these things in. I looked at YouTube, tried different things. I mean, believe me, on this thing, I have tried Spray 9, I've tried Simple Green, we've tried the extra fine steel wool, toothbrushes, you name it. My wife and I have tried it on this thing and not been able to restore this finish. I took it into a metal polishing guy local to us that I was able to find, and had him look at it, and he said, yeah, this is anodized aluminum. Basically, to do anything with it, you're going to need to strip that anodized layer off. And he said what you're going to find is that it'll go back on, and I can make them nice and shiny, but these pits and things, he said those are still going to be there, unless we start getting into really treating each individual pit and trying to, smooth it out and match the texture to the original texture. And so to make a long story short, these things are new, 125, 150 bucks, somewhere in that territory, and you would just get more work and more hassle than it's really worth. Now, that's it. We'll put that away. We're just going to plan on buying new ones. These valve covers, then I watched some YouTube videos. What I was kind of locked into was maybe taking some 600 grit wet sandpaper, getting the bad stuff off, and then gradually working up to 1,500, $2,000, maybe even 3,000 or more. Grit wet sandpaper, and just getting these things polished up, and probably spending at least a full day on each one of them to do that. When I was having this same conversation with that same metal fabrication guy, I asked him just on chance what would he charge to take these from the raunchy condition they were in to the condition they're in, to a driver condition. I'm not doing a show car, we're doing a driver. 80 bucks a pair. I didn't have to think about that very long. So for 80 bucks, you can see a nice shine on these things. The guy I dealt with said he would paint them too, but I wanted to do that part at least. So it took about 2 weeks, turned them over to him, and we have nice shiny valve covers. And I will say in a driver condition. I'm not sure how well it'll show up, but there's a few pits. I think you can see that right there maybe. One of these has worse pitting on the edge. It still has integrity. The piece still has integrity, but those pits are there, which I wish they weren't, but it's one spot out of all of it, and they came out pretty good. So turned them over to him. 80 bucks later, I have shiny valve covers that will no longer look horrible when I pull that hood open. Next was the painting. I got a tip on one of the Facebook groups. The blue on these can be done with turquoise. This is the same kind of stuff from Tester that if you build model cars or something like that. And this was an 1107 turquoise. The red, let me find that, is an 1103 gloss red. So I took that. What I found was in doing the blue, I was able to use these syringes and actually just kind of, I won't say flood fill, but just let it drip out slowly and spread it with the needle, just very slow and tedious, and work it, even into these ridges right there up into, you know, the bottom of the R on Thunderbird, things like that. And that worked pretty good, and you can actually even see the metal texture under that still. It put a really thin layer on it, and I was really happy with how that came out. For the red, for me it still dripped out a little too much. I tried to do the syringe on that, and it one drop off the tip of my syringe was more than enough to fill one of those letters. So back to the stuff you can get at Hobby Lobby or wherever you want to go for modeling supplies. These are little Q-tips that you can find with models that I use for detail painting or applying glue or whatever. And these worked pretty well. Just all I did was shake up the bottle of paint, take the cap off. I actually dipped the tip of this Q-tip into the cap, just the residue that was on the cap yet, and used that to do these letters, just, you know, very painstakingly. So came out really great. You know, the eyes on the Thunderbird and everything, or the eye on the Thunderbird and the feathers there and everything too. Really happy with how they came out. And now, instead of junky looking valve covers, we have, I think, a couple of pretty nice pieces that'll look great on the car when we get to start taking it out again in the spring. That's it for now on valve covers especially, but a little bit extra on metal polishing. Take care, guys. Catch you later.